Caitlin Clark just made WNBA history with a contract decision that nobody saw coming. The rookie sensation has officially accepted a $1 million deal, leaving the entire league in shock. Fans are asking, did the WNBA just dodge a bullet, or are we watching start a new sports empire? Okay, let's just pause for a second. $1 million in the WNBA. That's not just big, it's seismic. If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. Caitlin Clark, who hasn't even finished her rookie year, just cracked a ceiling that's been sitting above women's basketball like a glass tomb. We're talking about a league where the average salary for players is often under six figures, and suddenly, bam, 7 digits right in your face. Not from endorsements, not from shoe deals, from basketball, from playing the game. Now, if you're blinking a little and wondering how we got here, you're not alone. This wasn't just some random contract extension or a standard rookie deal sweetener. This was a power move, a statement, and it lit fire under everyone from fans to league execs to upstart leagues trying to get their claws into the Caitlin Clark business. Because make no mistake, Caitlin is the business. Let's rewind just a bit. Before she even hit the WNBA court, Clark was already a full-blown phenomenon. Sold-out college games, millions of viewers tuning in, viral three-pointers from the parking lot. It was obvious this girl wasn't just a player, she was a movement. The kind of generational talent that gets people who don't even watch basketball suddenly following women's hoops religiously. So naturally, everyone wanted a piece of her. Enter Unrivaled, this flashy, controversial, brand-new startup league that saw dollar signs in Caitlin's wake. These folks thought, why not skip the WNBA entirely? Just throw the bag at Clark, maybe toss in some glitzy branding, edgy uniforms, influencer-style marketing, and boom, instant league relevance. And to their credit, they didn't exactly hold back. Rumors swirled of multi-million-dollar offers, special revenue splits, creative control, maybe even league ownership down the line. Wild stuff. If you didn't know better, you'd think they were trying to poach LeBron in 2004. But here's where things got spicy. She said no. Or at least, she didn't say yes. And in this world, silence can speak louder than a press conference. Instead, Caitlin Clark doubled down on the WNBA. She showed up, suited up, and now she just cashed a check that completely redefines what a woman in professional basketball is worth. $1 million. Let that sink in, because what this contract really says is the WNBA finally gets it. Or at least, they realize they can't afford not to get it. For years, fans and critics have dragged the league for how it undervalues its talent. While male counterparts sign contracts in the tens of millions and live in charter jet luxury, WNBA players have been flying commercial, grinding through year-round overseas gigs just to make ends meet, and getting media coverage only when something goes viral. Then came Caitlin, and with her came eyeballs, ticket sales, sponsorships, jersey sellouts, record-breaking viewership numbers that literally outperformed entire NBA markets. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from how can we make people care about the WNBA to how we keep Caitlin Clark from walking out the door with the entire fan base. Because that's the thing. She's not just a player. She's a cultural tipping point, a unicorn. And fans? Oh, they are ruthless about her. When Unrivaled started creeping into the picture, fans shut that noise down fast. Every tweet, every whisper about Clark leaving the WNBA was met with digital torches and pitchforks. People were calling Unrivaled a gimmick, a TikTok league, WWE in sneakers. Ouch! And it wasn't just randoms on the internet. League insiders, analysts, even players started expressing concern, not just about Clark potentially leaving, but about what her departure would mean. Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark is a WNBA right now. She's driving ratings, headlines, sponsorships. Her presence is directly tied to how much networks are willing to pay for media rights. One person. That's insane. So yeah, that $1 million contract? It's not just a paycheck. It's a panic button, a life raft. Please don't go from a league that knows it has something precious and, for the first time in a long time, something powerful. And yet, the drama doesn't stop there, because Unrivaled isn't going quietly. They're still lurking in the shadows, waiting for their shot, signing other talent, hinting at big expansions, promising an elevated experience for players. But for now, the Caitlin Clark train has left their station, and the fans? They're not exactly sad about it. In fact, if there were an award for most clown new league launch, Unrivaled might already be polishing the trophy. People aren't buying it. Not the flashy promos. Not the we're different energy. Not the startup swagger. It's giving desperate. Like when a reboot tries to be edgy for Gen Z but ends up feeling like your dad using TikTok slang. The branding might be loud, but the trust isn't there. And if Clark isn't on the roster, the credibility just doesn't stick. So now we're in this fascinating moment. The WNBA just made history. Caitlin Clark is the highest paid female basketball player in league history. Rival leagues are flailing to stay relevant. And the fans? They're watching it all unfold like a live reality show. The question is, what comes next? Because, yeah, this is a win for Caitlin. And a win for the league. But also, it's a warning shot. The WNBA had to do this. Because without players like Clark, the league would be back to struggling for airtime on ESPN8 at 2 a.m. This contract wasn't just about money. It was about control, about keeping the league's golden goose from flying the coop. And Caitlin? She played it perfectly. She never trashed rival leagues, never made a big speech, never turned her platform into a lecture. She just let the hype build, let the offers come in, and waited like a queen letting the court scramble. And then, boom, loyalty rewarded, bag secured. It's giving. Game of Thrones if Daenerys had a killer jump shot. Still, none of this fixes the deeper issues. The WNBA has problems that go way beyond one superstar. There's still a massive pay gap. There's still travel issues, financial sustainability questions, TV deal struggles. The league can't build itself around one player forever. What happens when Clark gets injured, or wants out, or just decides she's done? This moment, it's a pivot point, a wake-up call, a blueprint, or a warning. Because let's not kid ourselves. This contract doesn't fix everything, but it does show that change is possible. That fans will show up if they're given a reason. That star power matters, and if you invest in the right people, the returns are real. Caitlin Clark just rewrote the playbook, not with a fiery speech, not with a dramatic walkout, but with a signature on a contract that says, I'm worth it, and I'm staying. So here we are. The fans are celebrating. Rival leagues are regrouping. And the WNBA? They're praying they didn't just make their first and last million-dollar move too late. In the end, the real takeaway isn't just about the money. It's about the message. Know your worth. And make them pay for it. First of all, let's talk about what didn't happen. Because sometimes the absence of chaos is just as loud as the chaos itself. There was no press tour. No teary interviews. No cryptic Instagram posts with vague captions like chapter close or loyalty is everything. Caitlin Clark didn't pull LeBron and announce the decision. She didn't drop merch, launch a podcast, or schedule an emergency TikTok live to explain her choice. She just made the move, quietly, confidently. And that silence? Deafening, because this wasn't just about cashing a check. It was about flexing her power without ever needing to say a word. That's some real boss-level energy. Meanwhile, the league? The WNBA has basically been running a public victory lap. And honestly, they should. This isn't just about signing a player. It's about anchoring their entire future to someone who's already redefining what success looks like. We're not even halfway through a rookie season, and she's moving numbers like an MVP vet. But now the pressure's on. Caitlin Clark's deal set a precedent, and you can bet the rest of the league has taken notice. That $1 million mark isn't just a one-time anomaly. It's a new benchmark, a glowing neon sign that says, if you're a star, you're worth the investment. Now, picture being one of the other top-tier WNBA players. You've been grinding for years, logging triple-doubles and flying coach, all while getting paid less than the team's assistant marketing director. And suddenly, the rookie's got $1 million deal and a Nike campaign? Phew. Locker rooms might be cool on the surface, but conversations are happening. The CBA is already a hot-button topic, and this just threw gasoline on the fire. How is the league going to manage expectations now? Because while Clark deserves everything she's getting, this also cracks the door open for other players to demand more. And they should. This is long overdue. But the league's financial structure? Not exactly built to support a full roster of million-dollar contracts. So unless the WNBA figures out how to expand its revenue streams fast, we could be looking at a serious tension point. Because one player making bank is great for headlines, but 10 players asking for the same thing? That's a financial reckoning waiting to happen. Which brings us to another point, media rights. Caitlin Clark has been doing more for viewership than half the NBA teams combined. Her games are spiking ratings, dragging casual fans into the WNBA ecosystem, and making ESPN execs actually care. Like, not in performative, yay, women's sports kind of way, but in a wait, this is real money kind of way. Networks are suddenly realizing that with the right star, women's basketball isn't niche. It's prime time. And guess who's holding all the cards now? Clark is the leverage. Her name is the deal sweetener. If she's playing, people are watching. So when those TV contracts come up for renewal, best believe the WNBA is going to be wheeling her out front and center like, here's our ratings queen. What's your offer? And on the flip side, if rival leagues like Unrivaled want to break into the game, they need their own Clark. Someone who can deliver not just talent, but audience. And sorry, not every baller with a strong crossover is going to cut it. The thing about Caitlin is, she has that rare crossover appeal. Sports fans love her. Casuals are intrigued. Kids want to be her. Brands see dollar signs. She's a total package. That's not something you can build in a lab or a startup league with flashy neon uniforms and hashtag slogans. But here's where things get even weirder. Because even though Clark is getting this historic contract and pulling in record numbers, she still doesn't talk about it. She's not lobbying. She's not calling out haters. She's not using her mic to shame the league or dunk on rival offers. She just plays. That restraint, that's her secret weapon. Because while the drama swirls around her, she stays clean. She doesn't look like she's chasing clout or capitalizing on the hype. She's just clocking in, scoring 30, and leaving with the win. Meanwhile, everyone else is scrambling. Leagues, brands, analysts, Twitter trolls, trying to catch up. And fans? They love it. There's something deeply refreshing about a star who isn't constantly marketing herself, yet still owns the entire spotlight. She's the eye of the storm, calm, steady, and devastatingly effective. Now, let's talk culture for a second, because Caitlin Clark's impact isn't just about sports. It's about visibility. For years, women's basketball has had to fight tooth and nail for relevance. Players were constantly being asked, why should we watch? Instead of, who's your favorite player? And then Clark shows up, and suddenly everyone is watching. Not because the media forced it, or because the league did a 10-part documentary, but because she made it impossible to ignore. Her talent is undeniable. Her confidence? Unshakable. She made women's basketball cool, and not in a forced, marketing department kind of way. Think about the ripple effect of that. Little girls in gyms across the country are seeing themselves in her. High school prospects are dreaming bigger. College players are realizing that if they grind hard enough, if they dominate the court, there's actually a future waiting for them. It's no longer just about passion. There's a career path now, with real money, real fame, and real respect. That's a game changer. And let's not ignore the optics here. This is happening in a sports culture that's still struggling with how to value women athletes. So when Caitlin Clark becomes a millionaire in her rookie season, that's a headline that sends shockwaves far beyond basketball Twitter. It's a challenge to every outdated system still pretending female athletes are somehow less than. It's a middle finger to every boardroom that said, we don't think there's an audience. And it's a wake-up call to every brand that's been too scared to go all in. And here's something we really need to talk about, how the other leagues are reacting. Unrivaled, for instance, might have seen Clark's rejection as a loss, but what they should see is a blueprint. If they ever want to compete seriously, it can't be about gimmicks or marketing fluff. It has to be about substance, about cultivating real talent, real stories, real stars. Because what Clark just proved is that fans don't care about shiny graphics and slogans. They care about authenticity, about loyalty, about who actually shows up night after night and delivers. So if Unrivaled or any future challenger wants to matter, they need to build around athletes, not over them. They need to find the next wave of Caitlins, not try to shortcut their way to relevance by throwing money around like confetti. But that's easier said than done. Because right now, Caitlin Clark is the bar, and she just raised it so high, it might be years before anyone else even gets close. Which brings us back to the WNBA. This moment isn't just a win, it's a window, a chance for the league to finally scale up, build smarter, and center the players who are actually moving the needle. This is the beginning of a new era, but only if they play it right. And don't get it twisted, there are still plenty of obstacles. From travel conditions to team marketing budgets to inconsistent scheduling, the WNBA has some real growing pains ahead. But this contract? It's proof that when the league decides to go big, it can. Oh, we're not done yet. Not even close. Because if Caitlin Clark's $1 million moment taught us anything, it's that the chaos doesn't end when the ink dries on the contract. It starts there. Let's get into the chessboard. Because while the WNBA just made their power move to keep Caitlin in the fold, the game of women's basketball is now in full-on territory war mode. And here's the quiet part no one wants to say out loud. This wasn't just a contract. It was a preemptive strike. You're not taking her. Defensive maneuver aimed squarely at every other league, brand, and corporate entity sniffing around. See, Unrivaled isn't the only one trying to shake things up. There are whispers of even more alternative leagues trying to get in the game. Think startup VC-backed vanity projects, lifestyle leagues tied to influencer culture, or international ventures looking to cash in on the U.S. market. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player anymore. She's an entire market category. And this is where things get real complicated for the WNBA. Because now they've made their stance clear. Stars will be paid. But you know who else heard that? Everyone not in the WNBA. Every top NCAA prospect. Every overseas phenom. Every marketing executive trying to spot the next breakout name. They all just saw that if you generate enough buzz, the league will bend, maybe even break. Its own rules to keep you happy. And once that door is open, you can't just shut it again. So let's talk ripple effect. Because you better believe there's a generation of high school juniors right now watching this and going, wait, there's real money in women's hoops now. That's huge. This isn't just about rewarding one player. This is about resetting every expectation for what the next 5 to 10 years of the sport could look like. Top talent is no longer just aiming for Olympic dreams or overseas contracts. They're gunning for that Clark money, and that's going to change the entire pipeline. AAU programs are going to shift focus. Agents are going to start sniffing around earlier. Media outlets are going to start branding high school stars as the next Caitlin Clark, just to ride the engagement wave. And you better believe brands are going to follow the hype like sharks to blood. Let's be honest. Women's basketball has never had a true face of the league moment the way men's sports have. We've had icons. We've had legends. But this feels different. Clark isn't just dominating. She's converting the unconverted. And that brings us to another subtle but critical twist. She's doing it without changing herself. No scandals. No manufactured drama. No forced personality pivots to be more likable or palatable or brand safe. She's competitive, intense, unapologetic, and people are obsessed. She doesn't water herself down to make people comfortable. And that's revolutionary. Because for decades, the unspoken rule for women athletes has been, be great but be nice. Be dominant but be humble. Be bold but not too loud. And Caitlin Clark is shredding that rulebook game by game. She talks smack. She celebrates. She makes heat-check threes and knows they're going in before the ball leaves her hands. And she does all of it without blinking. She's not afraid to own the moment. And that level of confidence? Infectious. It's also kind of a branding nightmare for her competitors. Because how do you build a rival league around new energy when Clark already owns that narrative? How do you convince fans to jump ship when the main character hasn't left the building? You can't, at least not yet, which means unrivaled, and any other league hoping to make waves has a tough choice to make. Either find the next breakout star fast, or pivot away from trying to compete at the Caitlyn level altogether. They might have to get scrappy, target niche markets, offer year-round social media infrastructure, go full lifestyle sports meets reality TV, to carve out a different kind of fan base. Because if they go toe-to-toe on pure basketball star power, they're cooked. Clark set the bar too high. But back to the WNBA, because this next part is going to be tricky. Let's not forget, this league isn't a cash cow. It runs lean. Always has. So while paying Clark this kind of money was necessary, it also wasn't easy. Someone somewhere is doing financial gymnastics behind the scenes. Sponsors are getting leaned on. Partnerships are being restructured. It's all very keep the ship from tipping while we plug the hole with duct tape. And long term, that's not sustainable. If the WNBA wants this moment to be more than a stunt, they're going to need actual infrastructure behind it. That means growing team revenues, building out better travel systems, securing long-term broadcast rights that actually pay, maybe even welcoming in private ownership models that look more like the NBA or MLS. Because right now, the math doesn't work. You can't have one player making $1 million while the rest of the roster is hustling for $75,000 and hoping their per diem doesn't get cut. That's a recipe for locker room tension, union issues, and PR disasters waiting to happen. So here's where things get juicy. Who's next? Who's going to be the next player to test the system? To see if the league is willing to go back to the well for another big payout? Because you know someone is watching Clark's bag and thinking, okay, it's my turn. And if the league hesitates, if they don't offer the same support or spotlight, that's when you might see someone finally jump ship to Unrivaled, or start a bidding war that spills into the public eye. All it takes is one star feeling underappreciated, one top prospect feeling like their worth isn't being recognized, one viral clip of a player dragging the league on a podcast. That's when the floodgates open. So yes, Clark's contract is a milestone, but also opens a door to a new kind of sports politics. We're not just talking about on-court rivalries anymore. We're talking about contract rivalries, brand rivalries, league versus league warfare. And through all of it, Caitlyn Clark stays silent, powerful, a storm in sneakers. She doesn't need to defend her decision. The numbers do it for her. The ratings, the headlines, the fact that every post-game interview, every highlight reel, and every viral TikTok somehow leads back to her. She's not just the face of the league. She's a storyline. And the more the league depends on her, the more power she has. Think about that. We've reached a point where a 20-something rookie could, if she wanted to, hold an entire sports future in the palm of her hand. That's never happened before, not like this. And while it's exciting, it's also terrifying. Let us know what you think. Who's the next player to demand the bag? Is the WNBA ready for a new era of megastars? And is Caitlyn Clark building a legacy or an empire? Hit the comments, subscribe for more breakdowns, and stick with us for the wild ride ahead. Because when the game changes this fast, you don't want to miss a single meltdown.